Good morning. So it's been 6 months since I joined SubTo. It's it's been crazy. It changed my life completely. 6 months is a long time. I remember when I first joined SubTo, I was so excited. I just wanted a different life for myself and for my family, for my girlfriend. I didn't want to live in the world that I was before, and that was buying things off Facebook and reselling them on eBay. That just sucked. It wasn't sustainable for me. So I joined SubTo, and I stopped my other business. I had I don't know, 3 months worth of money, 2 months worth of money saved up. So I didn't have to do anything other than SubTo. And you watch all the social media and it's like, oh yeah, you'll get a deal, you'll get it quick. And that 2 months came and went pretty quickly. I was really digging deep in there. But I was learning a lot. I was learning every day. I was calling people, talking to them for an hour on the phone. I think after 45 days, I talked to 120 people or something on the phone for an hour at a time. It was crazy. All I would do is wake up and walk around my neighborhood and talk to people on the phone. And gosh, I was probably walking 7 or 8 miles a day, just doing circles, talking to SubTo members on the phone. Enough so that my neighbors were like, what is this guy doing? All he does is walk around in circles and talk to himself. So I probably looked like a crazy person, but besides the point. So yeah, it started to get really, really difficult because I ran out of money, and I had to look for a job, and I didn't want to do that. It sucked. I hated the idea because I still had this dream and this expectation of I was going to be free. I was going to be unshackled. But my expectations were wrong. And I got a job in my neighborhood as a maintenance person. I don't know, doing landscaping and blowing leaves and stuff. It's easy. I still work here in my neighborhood 4 hours a day. It doesn't pay enough, honestly. I barely am able to pay my bills. I'm actually not able to pay all my bills, but I pay most of them, which is cool. But it's still stressful because, I took a leap of faith and into the unknown, and I don't regret that, not one bit. Do I wish I had more money saved up? Yeah, definitely. But as I started building my relationships with people in SubTo, I started gaining knowledge. I started practicing what I was learning, and eventually I met up with Chris Pierre and Clay Compton. They were new in SubTo, and yeah, they needed some help. They needed some help underwriting, and they had a couple deals. The first one didn't work out because the sellers were, being sellers, doing the things that they do. But eventually they got another one in Phoenix near their house where they lived, and I was able to help them, assist them in not all the parts. They did a lot of the work, but I was able to find them a buyer, which is something I told them I was going to be able to do from the start. And, we just closed that deal basically 6 months to the day. We closed it with the B2C contract, an assignment to an investor. Shout out to Nicolay. And we all just got paid on it, which was really cool. That was the first deal I ever did in real estate. period. And it was a SubTo, which is super cool. We each made about $4,000. Well, exactly $4,000. So we split it 3 ways. $12,000. We split that 3 ways. Excuse me. And and we're on to the next one. But it took me 6 months. 6 months is a long time. It's stressful. It's hard, not only on me and my finances and my credit card, but my partner. You know, she's paying for my food, paying for the car. We had to buy a new car right before I joined SubTo because my old Subaru died. I know that was right after I joined SubTo. My Subaru just died. So we went out and bought a brand new one. It's perfect. It's great. It'll run forever. No problems, but it's $500 a month. I don't have that. So it sucks, you know, having to take a risk. I mean, it was a big risk for me to join SubTo. It's a lot of money. Money I barely even had, but I had a credit card and I was okay with putting it on a credit card because what was the alternative, right? Continue on the path I was going on, which is the same path I've been on since I was 20. I'm 38. Wasn't going to work. Wasn't a future I wanted to bring my kids up into. So, you know, now here we are, 6 months later. And yeah, we got our first deal done. And it was through the community that it all happened. And gosh, without the connection from Pace to Clay and Chris, like, I wouldn't be here. So I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful for everything that I've learned. And one thing that is interesting is on the first day I made a Facebook post or a YouTube video that I joined SubTo, hooray! And I put my phone number on the post on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'm starting to get people to call me from YouTube. They just straight up call me. And they want to know if they should join. And, you know, I don't tell them yes. I want to know why they want to join. And I have to tell them, like, listen, you better be committed to this. Like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but you better be able to run a marathon here until you get your first deal. This is not a short sprint. I don't care what anybody says. You got to be prepared to run 24 miles. That's it. The whole thing. Because it's going to take that. And for me, it took 6 months. And that's what I tell people. Like, you better be prepared to not make a dime from SubTo for 6 months. Because you got to set your expectations low. And they're low, but they're realistic. Like, if you don't know anything about real estate and anything about SubTo, it's going to take you a long time to figure it all out. You know, every day, just plugging away, trying to figure out what you're doing. So that's one thing I've been telling people is, like, you have to set your expectations. Like, if you think your expectations are realistic and you've never done real estate before, reset your expectations to 6 months until you can start making money. Because then you're prepared mentally for what it's going to take. And if you can make it happen in 2 weeks, amazing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the connections you made, and you did it faster than I did. And everybody's different. Like, I'm not here to judge. I'm just trying to help people out, right? The second thing that I take away from this whole experience of being in SubTo for 6 months is I joined and I kind of had my own idea of what I wanted to do. It was a little bit Alonzo method, a little bit of wholesaler outreach, and That's just the way I am. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to do it my own way. And I did it my own way. And probably at about month 4, I realized I had no way of tracking my KPIs. I just didn't. I was just spending all day building relationships and talking to people. And, I didn't have any tasks that every day I had to do this, non-negotiables. So I started to realize that in order to take more control of what was going on, I had to be the one calling realtors. Plain and simple. Just pick up the phone and dial. And I'm super comfortable on the phone. I've done telemarketing before. I've been in sales my whole life. I got no problems like building rapport with people and then finding the pain points, the bunnies, and pitching creative. So basically, last week I kind of shifted to that. It's just focusing on market deals, calling realtors. And one of the other reasons I was able to switch to that is because I'm working with sober living facilities in Texas and in Florida. So they're my end buyer, right? They're going to be renting from us long term. They want their homes to be there for 30 years. They've been in business for 30 years. So they're long-term tenants. And they're ready to rent. If I can find them a place that meets their needs, they'll rent it. That's no problem. And I've got my private money lenders all lined up. They're on board with what I'm doing. They love it. So it was just kind of like the third piece of the puzzle. And I kind of say that, if I was to do it all again, would I change the way I did it? I don't know if I would, because of where I am now, I'm really, really comfortable with a lot of the terminology and the things that you have to say when you're talking with a realtor on the phone. I've got great relationships with my lenders, and if I had done it differently, would I be the exact place I am? Probably not. I think I just would possibly point somebody else in a different direction, especially if they were coming to me first and asking what they should do. I would tell them, listen, go into SubTo, figure out what Subject 2 is, get on the nightly dials, get on the daily dials, learn how to talk to people on the phone, learn how to get someone to say yes to creative, and then pass it off to a closer, like someone like myself, who can talk the seller through the rest of the conversation. And I'll admit, I'm not going to be able to talk them through 100% of the way. I can get them 85% there, 90% there. But then once I'm there, I just hire Caleb Christopher at Creative TC and just let him do the rest. That's all. It's the who, not the how. And my whole life I've been trying to figure out how. But with this community, all I need to know is who. And that's what I tell people. This community is full of a bunch of who's. The hows are there too. But if you just worry about the hows, you won't do anything. You'll just be watching Zoom videos for the rest of your life until Pace is old and gray and has a wrinkly face. Because he'll be doing it forever, and so will you if all you do is watch Zooms. So focus on the who, not the how. Peace.